Who is Daniel CH? But have you always wanted to be an entrepreneur? So can you remember way back then when you got your first sale? Are you ready for some quickfire questions,
Sure.
Daniel?
Let's go.
Welcome to the JOD Pod, a micro podcast where we interview CEOs, entrepreneurs, founders, authors, and coaches. Today we are lucky to be joined by Daniel CH, founder of Price Unlock and LegitCheck. Daniel, great to have you on the show.
Great to be here. It's an honor, Jod.
Man, that's so good to hear. So for those of us who have not encountered you before, Daniel, who is Daniel CH?
A multifaceted individual, just like everybody else. But to be a bit poetic, the facets that I'm going to show today, the relevant ones, are I'm a 23-year-old person who made a business with my younger brother, who is 17. We made about $200,000 last year, and we have 6 million all-time users. But I'm making a new product for SaaS founders called Price Unlock. And just to note down, I moderate the SaaS subreddit, which has got about 20,000 subscribers. And I write the monthly investors update called Dear Mom Investors.
Man, you got a lot going on, eh?
Yeah, I'm trying to juggle a couple of balls. Some of them are going to fall and splash all over the place. But we'll see which ones of these balls are going to keep jumping in the air, so to speak.
Yeah. Well, yes, you do a lot. You know, I follow you on Twitter. I see so much that you're doing. It's an exciting watch. I like to see all the different fingers in different pies that you've got going on, which is awesome, Daniel. Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
One of the things that I'm trying to do with the JOD Pod is to inspire other people to do what you've done, which is to, step out of their comfort zone and create something. Build something. And I'm guessing, being moderator of the SaaS community on Reddit, you probably have some quite good insight into this. But have you always wanted to be an entrepreneur, to build things for yourself?
I have an interesting answer which came out on another podcast a couple of weeks ago. Sometimes you speak and you learn from yourself, like something comes out of you. And I think those moments are interesting. And one of these things came out the other day, which was, yes, the answer is yes. But I only found out later in life, and this might sound a certain way, but it is true. I've only found out later in life that there's this other option of getting a salary, being an employee, because both of my parents are business owners. Not something humongous, just imagine your small mom and pop shop. But it was only when I was 17, 18 when I realized, whoa, hold on a sec. Besides all this online business that I'm making, there's actually this option of getting a fixed salary. Yeah, you're spending 40 hours of your time every week, but that can take care of living situation. But yeah, long answer is yes, because it was I grew up in an environment where the entrepreneurship looked like the only way, and it was exciting. It's not like I said, I have to start a business. I started early. I started when I was 12, 13. I had my first online business at 15. Yeah.
Wow. What was that?
It was an online shop selling ties, bow ties, cufflinks. I like to dress back then more preppy, like suit, kind of like smart casual, what's called today. So I said, I know, I'm gonna live the dream, quote unquote, and start a business around something I like. I made a bit of money, not too much, because that was my lesson. That was me putting in the reps at finding out that you don't start a business after 100%. You have to fit yourself to the business, and the business has to fit itself to you.
Can you remember for that? What was the name of that website, by the way?
Gentleman Shop.
Gentleman Shop. Okay. So can you remember way back then when you got your first sale?
That's why I was wondering, because I knew that was coming, the first sale. You never ever forget the first sale. I think I was jumping of joy, and some people from the outside look at me and see me as very serious. Some other people see me as very quite the opposite, very happy. But I was just jumping of joy because I was there at 15. I had my first. It was cash on delivery, but it did happen. It was sealed in the end. I even remember where I was. I was in my mom's car. We were driving home, and I just came out on the window and shouted on the street because it felt like a new thing. They don't know that feeling existed.
Did you know the person that did it, or do you know how they found you to actually do the purchase?
It had to be Facebook. This was 2012, 2013, something like that. So it had to be Facebook. I jumped on the Facebook ads, back when they were super cheap. So I struck some dumb luck there. But no, I didn't know the person, which contributed to the feeling.
Yeah. Well, like if you sell something to someone that you haven't got a relationship with, that must, it feels great. Like I think the first thing that happened to me was an ebook on Kindle,
Right.
like a Kindle ebook.
How did that feel
But that's really.
for you?
Oh yeah, it was great. It was great. It was great. Like an extra quid in my bank account. Happy days. Like I'm not selling thousands of them, but it was a really interesting thing because all the sales that I've ever done are kind of high ticket, face to face, you know, five figure, deals.
Yeah.
And then to sell, so you've got to have a relationship with the person, but then to sell something digitally that you've created that someone else then spends money on is
Something else.
Feels good. Feels good. But that's cool. Like Facebook adverts, like a lot of people, like I know a lot of people still, like we don't use Facebook adverts. We don't do any advertising. It's all kind of face to face, interacting with people, but actually learning about Facebook adverts to get your first sale.
Right.
Like it's a really, you're learning about how Facebook adverts works as well. Like learning how advertising works and how audiences work, at the same time as kind of sharpening those entrepreneurial brain cells.
Yeah. 100%.
That you need.
Yeah.
No, that's cool. That's cool. So what's the big thing you're working on at the moment, Daniel?
I run my main business, LegitCheck by CH, which is a luxury item authentication company. So think clothing, watches, bags, sneakers, even collectibles, even Pokemon cards, or the weirdest thing we've authenticated. I mean, it's not weird, but it's unusual. Is CDs, and they were fake. There were a couple of CDs, EPs actually from Imagine Dragons, and they were fake. They were replicated. That's what we do there. But then I'm building a new tool called Price Unlock for SaaS founders. I'm building it for myself, for LegitCheck. It's meant to solve this big headache of how do you find and then set the perfect pricing for what you're selling if it's a subscription. So those are the two main things I'm focusing on at the moment.
So Price Unlock, it's for people that have built a SaaS product that is a subscription.
Yeah.
Product, so not one-off, not one-off prices. It's subscription.
Correct.
And what happens? You plug into what they're
in 30 seconds
doing, and you do A/B tests. How does it work?
It could do A/B. So in 30 seconds or less, you connect to your payment processor, be it Stripe or something else. But we're starting with Stripe, and then you embed a few lines of code so that we can deliver your prices. The HTML element which says $9/month. And then with our dashboard, you can do two main things. Run a pricing test, whether that's an A/B test or you say, I want weeks 1 to 4 this price and weeks 5 to 8 this price, so you can draw some conclusions. Or you're doing an A/B test, that's all fine. And then the second thing it does, it helps localize prices. So you play with the currency and the price that's displayed based on the customer's location. You know how Apple sells Apple One for $15 and $25 in the US, 15 and 25 quid in the UK, but then it's $2.5 and $5 a month in India because of the average income and many, many other factors.
How does that help the founder? Let's say I've gone away and I've built a SaaS product. Oh my goodness, I need to come up with a SaaS product idea off the top of my head. A SaaS product that helps me book podcast guests,
right?
And then do follow up with the guests to make sure that they get all the social media content to advertise the show.
Sure.
For example, right? And let's say that's, and I think, oh well, I need to charge £10 a month for that service.
Yeah.
I've put together my landing page. I've put it together. Your code plugs in and says, well, you think it should be £10. We're testing some different prices that are on top of that. Why would I do that rather than just charge £10? What's the benefit to me?
You will charge £10, but here's what's going to happen,
Right.
Jod. Couple of months into it, or at least next year, the more time goes, you're adding more features and more value. You're going to think, hold on a sec, can I charge more? And these people online, everybody's saying charge more. But what the hell do I do? Do I do £14? Do I do 20? Do I do 30? What if I go for 80, but then it's too much? First of all, I have to risk the whole company because I'm betting the house. So what I'm suggesting is, and this is what I need for myself. You can go online and read all the advice, but then you're going to see that that company that's writing the article is a company doing shared email inbox or accounting or HR software. So that doesn't really apply 100% to you. And the best teacher is, of course, Mother Nature. So you have to test it yourself and see how your market and your gut feeling and your knowledge about the industry, how all these things tie in together. And at the end of the day, what will teach you is when you put that price out and you see how people react to it, whether you're leaving money on the table or maybe you're taking too much money from the table, because that's my problem. I'm charging $20 for my authentications, but we have competitors who charge 75 cents, and maybe I'm charging too much, maybe I'm charging too little, maybe I'm charging perfectly, who knows. So the only way to find out is to put it out there, to put that price, because you could look at the markets as a machine. You have your suppositions, you test them, you put them in the machine, see what comes up on the other side, and you'll be surprised sometimes. You'll be surprised to see what comes out of this machine, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I can totally see if you've got a SaaS product and you're not like, I can tell a lot of pricing is finger in the wind. Just trying to figure, you're just trying to guess it because you've essentially built it and you're now just trying to market it and sell it. And having a solution that can plug in and help you test and validate, different pricing structures and different tiers, maybe. I think that's going to be really, really valuable.
Yeah.
And your ideal customer for this is like a SaaS founder, like a one-man band, or is it
It has
bigger enterprises? How does
most
it
of the
work?
time they have to have a bit of revenue because that means you're already making something people want. And I had this, speaking about the machine, I had this assumption that it's gonna be for one man shows for indie hackers, but I started talking to them and they're telling me, no, maybe later, maybe I don't have the traffic, maybe this and that. So I'm starting to get my head and point it more in the direction of upscale, mid to enterprise. It feels a bit frightening because they're not as easy to reach as the indie hackers are, at least to me personally, not generally speaking. But yeah, you need some product market fit. You need to have pricing as a problem because in the early days, surviving is the problem, not pricing. Yeah, we're starting with SaaS and subscriptions, I should say, but obviously there's more leeway to expand into e-commerce or whatever. In a romantic way, startups usually have this romanticized view sometimes, like we're democratizing whatever. It doesn't really help with anything in the early days, maybe later as branding. But one of these useless romanticized ways I like to look at price unlock is taking that complex machine that Amazon has built for themselves and putting it into the hands of not Amazon players, because my Prime page is not going to be the same as your Prime page, and that's due to the complex pricing machine Amazon has built inside.
So you're going to be able to kind of put that kind of power of pricing into smaller businesses'
Hope,
arsenal, so that they
hopefully,
can they can use that as right. Okay, interesting.
if I do a good job, yes.
I'm really looking forward to see how things go. I know things are already going pretty well for this, and I can see all the great work that you're doing on Twitter around that product. And I think if there's SaaS founders out there that are looking at their pricing at the moment, I'm guessing they look at it every single day and try and guess whether or not they're pricing things at the right amount. They should definitely reach out and have a chat with Daniel. Check out priceunlock
I'll be happy to.
dot com. Are you ready for some quickfire questions,
Sure.
Daniel?
Let's go.
What is the app or SaaS product that you use every day?
Good question. Apple reminders, Apple to dos. It's a bit of a whack answer, but it's true. That's my number one source of truth. The to do list they have. What is it called? Reminders. Yeah.
Reminders, yeah. I think reminders. I'd love to know. Well, like this is over egging some geekiness here.
Yeah.
But do you think that many people use that? I know you do, but I don't. I find it a little bit too
Bland.
not necessarily like I see these things on TikTok and other places sometimes where people have set up workflows on their iPhone about certain events and it connecting to reminders and all that kind of stuff. Like some people listening to this might not even know that you can do this on your iPhone.
Right.
But I always go, oh, I wish I could do all this stuff, but then I just end up just writing stuff down on my Slack each day as like a basic to-do list rather than using reminders.
Yeah. No, I don't have any workflows with. I know what you're talking about, but I just use it because it's that. I don't have an example. Something simple that just works. Like, okay, look, another answer that is more satisfying is Basecamp. I really love Basecamp. But the first thing that came
Okay.
to head is Reminders because of it's simple, and I dare I even say, because Apple is not gonna listen to this and be hurt. Dare I even say a bit stupid, but like undeveloped. But that's why I'm using it, because it's well integrated in the ecosystem and all that. But I just use it because it's undeveloped and does the job.
Fantastic. Nice and simple. Well, that's what Apple's one of the taglines, isn't it? It just works.
Yeah.
And if that's what you need, that's what you need. What's your most recommended book, Daniel?
The Power of Now, no doubt about it. The Power of Now is the title. Then, no doubt about it was my comment.
Why The Power of Now?
It uh, it had a huge impact on me. It's the type of book I've reread at least 6 times, and I was saying this on other podcasts. I don't really read that many new books as I should. Most of the time, I reread books but there are very few books I can reread because some of them have depth. Like you see a couple of sentences, you can read them 4 times, and every time get something out of it. And not just because you're reading in a rush. It's because 100% focus, you're still gonna get something out of it. Had a huge impact on me, changed the way I look at life, and just like the title says, it gave me some powers. It allowed me to access the power of now.
Man, that's cool. I like it. We'll link to that so people can check that out themselves. I've not read it, so that would be something to add to my reading list when I'm allowed to go on holiday and sort my tan out. Who's your favourite YouTuber or podcaster?
James O'Donnell.
Oh yeah, I've heard of
Can
him.
I say that?
Yeah, well, you can say that, but there is nothing out there as we speak. Nothing has been launched. Nothing exists out there apart from in my mind. So
I'm betting on the long game, Josh.
ah,
Now I have to pick. I can't say somebody like Elon Musk. That everybody likes him. I have to have something that's gonna age well in 3 to 5 years from now.
well, okay. So you're going for long form long form content. You're hoping that what I do grows considerably. So I really do
I,
appreciate that. And there must be someone else. Go on, give me someone else that you keep an eye
okay,
out on.
that's why I've asked you. Can I say that?
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
maybe you
yeah,
have a rule.
yeah, yeah.
Scott Galloway, Prof G show, but his name is Scott Galloway. Podcast, but also YouTube. He used to have a weekly show, but he just moved to podcast now. But literally, like, it's that kind of situation where I wish there would be more YouTube videos with him, but there aren't. So I have to resort to podcast. But the preferred answer would be both if more YouTube videos come out.
Man, that is you like your bald white men that
Yeah,
talk about stuff. That's great. But he hasn't been recommended. He's not everyone's cup of tea either. He's quite acerbic sometimes in the way that he comes across. But
yeah.
that's really interesting. Really interesting. Thanks for that. These are some unique answers, Daniel, which is something that I like. Who's an up and comer then? Someone that you think we should be keeping an eye on, like as a future Huffington, Bezos, or Musk?
Besides the aforementioned, my younger brother, I should say. Can I say that? Is
Yeah,
that an allowed answer?
yeah, of
He's
course it
uh,
is.
he's 17 now. We started this business when he was 15. And as much as it might not be a conventional answer of looking up to somebody who's younger, let alone your brother, I genuinely look up to him. What he's done at 15 to be the stepping stone of this business we've made, which isn't humongous, but I genuinely admire him. And some people sometimes tell me after they meet him, they say, "Oh, he's cooler than you." And I say, "Well, no offense taken, because it means I've done a very good job at helping him, as much as it's down to my credit."
So you've mentioned your brother.
Yeah,
You haven't mentioned your brother's name.
David CH or CH
David
David.
CH.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And so he's the cool guy behind the business.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, we'll put him down. Future guest on the show. We'll get him on and have a chat with him.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. And where's the best place online, Daniel, for people to follow up with you and see all the great things that you're doing?
I would say Twitter should always be the central place. I always try to hammer all my things into the bio because there's a character limit. But I would say Twitter, and Twitter is also the place where I'm most likely to answer, to reply. I try to focus, even despite all these things I've said I'm doing. I have to focus at least sooner or later. So with social media, it's coming down mostly to Twitter.
Twitter. Fantastic. Okay, well, we'll put links to that in the show notes. There we have it. Daniel CH is the founder of Price Unlock, which helps SaaS founders find and set the perfect pricing for their tool, and also LegitCheck, a tool that authenticates high-end designer items. He got his first customer, I can't believe this, as a 15-year-old using Facebook adverts to sell. Was it a bow tie that you sold? I'd love it if it was a bow tie that was the first thing you ever sold online.
I think it was a handkerchief, really.
Handkerchief, even more dandy-esque.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. The app that Daniel uses the most and recommends is Reminders, but he also loves Basecamp. His most recommended book is The Power of Now, which he says he's read a few times and counts as something that's helped point him in the right direction. He loves watching this show. He loves watching the JOD Pod, although it doesn't exist at time of recording. There'll be plenty of episodes that have gone out by the time that this episode's gone. And he loves listening to Scott Galloway, Professor Scott Galloway's podcast. Really interesting guy. Knows a lot about startups and business over in Silicon Valley. And we should be keeping an eye. The up-and-comer that's coming up over the next few years is David CH, Daniel's brother, who's just now 17 and is working still away in the business. Really fantastic recommendation there. And you can follow Daniel on Twitter. Head over to the Twitter. His handle is CHDDANIEL. That's CHD Daniel. Follow his Twitter. It's awesome. He has some great guests on his lives, on his Twitter Spaces that he's using at the moment, and he's very good building public Twitter channel. And if you are a SaaS founder, if you have got a question about your pricing, or you just want to check out and see what Daniel's tool is all about, check out Price Unlock. That's priceunlock.com, priceunlock.com. Daniel, thanks for joining us today on the JOD Pod.
Thank you. It's an honor, and I'm not saying this just to be polite. It actually is. I think you're doing a great job, JOD, and I just want to say this at the end because I didn't have any chance to say it during the episode. Anybody listening to this, please keep an eye as well on JOD. I think he's doing a great job.
Man, my rouge has come up on my cheeks if you're watching this on the YouTubes.
Just so we can match your branding.
Just, matching the branding, exactly. Thanks, Daniel. It means an awful lot coming from you because it's incredible to see you grow online.
Thank you as well.
And thank you for joining us on today's interview on the JOD Pod. To ensure you don't miss out on any future interviews with founders just like Daniel, you need to play the YouTube game. You need to subscribe. You need to hit the bell. You need to click the up thummy button, like button on the YouTubes. And if you're listening to this, if you're watching this, drop a question below for Daniel. He will come back. He will answer every single question that you throw at him. You know, he's 23-year-old that's built 2 businesses. It's really interesting to see where he's at. And I think you can throw some questions at him that will really challenge him and might inspire you to go out and do something the same. And also, it helps out the channel. It helps out this video. It'll help out future videos. So hopefully there's that kind of altruistic feedback loop that's flowing through your body as you ask a question of Daniel. Please feel inspired by Daniel. Please go and build something today for yourself and inspire the next generation. Thanks for joining us today on the JOD Pod. If you enjoyed this interview, why don't you check out some of these other interviews that we've done on the JOD Pod. More inspirational CEOs, coaches, entrepreneurs, founders, and authors. I'm sure there's something here that will inspire you to build something new.